guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
And I'm Katie.
And we are back to cover a show that we've covered before, but it's back for its second season, Alice in Borderland. Mm-hmm. Super excited. So I still feel like y'all are wrong, and I feel like the last time we podcast this, it was me, you, and Donnie.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Because we never watched it with him.
Okay.
Maybe he started. Maybe we started with him on the podcast and then he stopped and it was just the two of us.
I don't know.
I feel like we did that with the show at one point.
Okay. Well, he ain't here, so.
Because he said he needs to rewatch season 1.
Yeah,
finish season 1. He hasn't even finished it. I
swear I thought he did, but okay. So it's just us. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking about 2 episodes per podcast, and if you are a premium subscriber, then there are 2 tiers for you to choose from. If you choose the $13 a month time travel tier, you will have 2-week early access to these episodes, and that means that when everyone else is listening to, let's say, season 2, episodes 1 and 2, which is what this podcast is, you will already have access to season 2, episodes 3 and 4. You will have that 2 weeks before anyone else. Our other tier, our regular premium tier, is $10 a month, and that gives you 1 week access, early access to this show and other premium shows that we cover that are available for free. Plus, both tiers get you access to premium only shows like Kindred and Interview with the Vampire and Hunters and The Last of Us and Chainsaw Man and Spy Family. So there's a lot of good stuff over on patreon.com/podcastfandom. Again, there are 2 tiers to choose from, and our time travel tier actually has access to shows that no one else does. We are covering 3 shows actually just for that tier: The Peripheral, The Devil's Hour, and Let the Right One In. So a lot of great content, again, over at patreon.com/podcastfandom. That's it. That's enough self-promotion. Let's start talking about the show. So this is a Japanese drama?
Yeah.
Action drama, I guess. And it's a Netflix original series. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the second season. The first season dropped like 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I think. Kind of either right at the start of the pandemic or sometime during the pandemic. I remember it's one of those shows a lot of people binged while isolating, quarantining. Yeah. And we watched it kind of after most people did, but really liked it. Again, we covered it on the podcast. And the second season just dropped the other day. As Netflix does, the whole season, all 8 episodes are available now. But again, we're going to be watching and covering them 2 episodes at a time. So, Kaylee, what did you think of these first 2 episodes?
I still really like the show. Like, I'm excited to watch more, and I'm a bit bummed that we're podcasting it because I just want to binge it all. Because I've also heard a lot of people say good things, but I'm enjoying it. I am a bit sad that my favorite character only had like 3 minutes of screen time so far.
Yeah.
He's just, out of the loop at the moment, but I'm assuming they'll make up for it later. Like,
how do you say his name? Chishia?
Chishia.
Like
Cheshire.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I'm assuming that he'll have like a grand entrance again. They'll make it really dramatic, maybe. I hope. I'm excited to see him. And I'm not surprised, but I saw on Twitter a lot of people really love him in general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He seems like a fan favorite. But yeah, I forgot how intense this is.
Uh-huh.
Not necessarily graphic, but just like sudden in some deaths.
That the stuff in the first episode really fucked me up.
Yeah.
Because that was like I was kind of joking about it, but not really. Like, that's a specific type of fear that I think is unique to people living like in America. Mm-hmm. The whole, what we call here, like mass shootings or active shooter situations. Mm-hmm. That's like because I feel like one of the reasons that people like, I think, stuff like this in Squid Game and I guess horror in general is a lot of times you end up putting yourself in the position, and it's like, I think a lot of people make themselves feel better, like, oh, I would have been too smart for that, right? Or you can't help but put yourself in the position and think, oh, this is what I would do, right? But what makes it kind of safe is that most of these situations are so ridiculous that you never really worry about having to be in them. Do you know what I mean? Like mm-hmm. a red light, green light game where you die if you get caught. But in this first episode of season 2, this is like Tuesday in America. Mm-hmm. You know? So yeah, that really fucked with me, and it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It was just really hard to watch because I'll go into details in a bit, but yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Okay. I'm really enjoying it like you. I kind of like wish we weren't podcasting, but on the plus side, like it is kind of Christmas break, kind of. It is. And we can just kind of like watch, record. Like we don't have to wait a week in between. Mm-hmm. And so that is my plan, to try to watch and record as much as we can over the next few days. But I will say I'm a bit surprised because I feel like the first season, it was like similar to Squid Game, where almost every episode was one event or like one game, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like the first season of this was kind of that way as well, but we really didn't get a game in the first episode. It was just kind of chaos and just remembering where we are, and even the characters being like, what the fuck is going on? And by the time the second game starts, or I guess the first official game in episode 2, it's not over. Like, I really thought we were going to get a conclusion. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to me that we are now, 3 episodes into season 2, and we've still so far only seen one game. So that's interesting. And the fact that everyone is split up so quickly, not everyone, but, like mm-hmm. you mentioned, Chishia's not there, and I think her name is An. Like, we lost track of her. Like, girl. Yeah, like halfway through this episode, she was gone. Nico, get out of there. She left halfway through this episode, and they never went back to her. So that's really interesting. Or a little disappointing, but we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to watching more and talking about it with you, as well as watching a few of my favorite reaction channels, because this show really is made for reaction channels. Mm-hmm. Like, that's part of the fun too, seeing people react to like the kind of craziness of it. All right, so let's dive into it. Episode 1 is just episode 1. To reacquaint everyone, in case you need it, with the characters, we have our main lead, Arisu, Alice, who's basically Alice. Usagi, right? That's her name, right?
Yeah, the rabbit.
Queena.
Mm-hmm.
Chichia.
Yep, and the Cheshire Cat.
And then I'm calling her An. I think that's how you say it. I think it's I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I think it's spelled AHN.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have a character who I don't fucking remember from season 1 at all.
The guy with the hat, yeah.
Yes. Like, I kind of remember him, but I thought he died.
I remember him. I don't remember what happened to him, but yeah, I definitely remember him.
All right, so the first episode, it begins with basically the way the first episode began, which was with Arisu playing video games in his bedroom and his dad kind of getting on him for being a slacker. But then it cuts to him running for his life within the game, right? And we see people getting shot around him, and it looks like they're in Shibuya Station.
Yeah, Shibuya Crossing.
Yeah. And then it goes back 13 minutes earlier, and we see that it is Arisu, Usagi, Klina, and Chishiya are sitting around in Shibuya Crossing waiting for the next game to start. And as a matter of fact, on one of the boards, it says the game will start shortly or something like that. But they've been waiting for an hour and nothing happens. And Usagi hears something in the distance, and a bunch of cars from the beach show up.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what the deal was, because I thought part of the reason that the beach was so special is that they had working cars and stuff, but everywhere the cars didn't work because of that whole EMP blast thing or something. Remember, they don't have electronics don't work unless it's within the game, that type thing. But anyway, all the cars show up, and they're saying, oh yeah, we came to do the game, and our Arisu is like, well, yeah, we've been here, but no game has started yet. And then mid-sentence, with the guy he's talking to gets blasted. And then it's just America. It really is. And I have it in my notes, I hate it all so much. Somebody calls it an anti-tank rifle. Chishiya is so casual about this. He's not ducking. He's not particularly hustling or running.
He's got his hands in his pockets.
Very anime character. But there's a lot of chaos and running. Our group ends up getting separated and reunited again. It's kind of all over the place. And the banner attached to that huge blimp flies overhead, and it's King of Spades. So they assume that this is the King of Spades game, whatever this is, even though they haven't officially been welcomed to a game or given the rules of the game. And we still really don't get an explanation on this, right?
No.
It's just, this happened to them. It's not a game, but it feels like a game, but we don't know why this is happening.
Yeah.
And we get a new opening. You pointed out that we didn't get, it didn't have a opening theme credits before, did it?
It did. It's just different.
Ah, okay. So I've been calling, sorry, I had to reach for my cord. I've been calling this guy the Gun Devil.
Not to my face. I didn't hear you call him that.
Oh, so that's what in my notes, I have Gun Devil. In my head, I've been calling him the Gun Devil.
This is new to me.
That's a Chainsaw Man reference. If you guys were not watching Chainsaw Man, you need to get on it. It's great anime. So they are saved by, this is where An and Tata show up in this car. Tata's driving, they all get in, and in the car, there's this exposition. I don't feel like they established this they didn't really have time to establish this at the end of the first season, so I'm assuming this is something they came up with before the season started, and they're just kind of filling us in. But Arisu believes that each of the face cards, right? Because prior to this, season 1, they were playing games with 2 through 10, right? In the 4 different suits. Now, they're playing Jack through, I'm assuming, Ace, right? Yeah. Jack, Queen, King, maybe Ace. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Jack, King, and Queen are definitely face cards. And they're assuming that each of the face cards has a game master. And for some reason, the woman who it turns out she was like with them in the first season, but it turns out at the end she was kind of behind stuff, Mita.
Yeah.
They're assuming that she is the game master for one of the face cards.
Yeah.
Again, not sure how they came to this conclusion.
I mean, they saw her, I don't know. They know she's behind something because they saw her face on,
right.
the screens.
I don't know, and maybe it's, something lost in translation, but, I don't know if they're thinking she's behind everything or if she must be, because they didn't really talk about game masters before, right? We knew that there were people. We knew that there were people who were I don't even want to say contestants, but people forced here to be players who were also forced to set up the games and stuff. Yeah. Right.
And there was also, I just remember this. There was that scene where they found these people
betting
on them. Yeah.
Right. From behind the scenes, and then later though. Were they all dead? They were all dead, right?
I think so.
When they came in there and found everything at the end, at the subway station in the tunnels, all the people in there had been lasered through the chin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they lost.
Lose their bets.
Yes. So, anyway, this is what they've come up with. And interestingly enough, An is a little skeptical because, Arisu is if we just beat now these face card game masters, we should be able to go home. And she's that's just some bullshit that homie at the beach came up with. We're
the Mad Hatter guy.
That's right. She's we don't even know if that's necessarily the case. And I feel her, right? Because they cleared that other board and now they still have to play. So, I mean, I understand telling yourself, okay, we just have to beat these face cards and we can go home. But I think she's also right in that they have no proof that that's how this works.
Yeah, but it is at least progress.
True.
They don't really got any other choice.
Meanwhile, there's another car of 4 people, and this is some horror movie shit. They don't even hear this motherfucker, the guy with the gun, what did he even do?
He climbed. He appeared to the back of the car.
Right, it's he climbed on the back trunk. Yeah. And then crawl to the top and then just shoot them through the roof of the car. It was so terrible. And then he attacks our group in the car and we get a car chase. And at first Tata's driving, but then An side eyes him and she's like, boy,
you've never been in a car chase before.
It's and it shows, get your ass over here. So she takes over. We get a bit of a better car chase. But they end up crashing the car, flipping. I don't know how they didn't die. And then someone hits him, too. The gun guy, right? His car gets hit. And then in the aftermath of that, after they crawl out of the car, he starts shooting at them again. They get split up. And the last we see is An running from him alone, right? Mm-hmm. She kind of runs into this woman who's screaming, and the woman's like, I give up. And An is like, just come on, keep it together. She's like, no, because even if I survive this, I got to play another game. Fuck this.
What if all the people who died just get sent back to the real world?
Right.
That'd be so crazy.
So that's actually, that's amazing because that means his friends are just home waiting for him.
Yeah.
So now that they're split up, the others minus An and Chishia, because he also gets separated from them here in this moment. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he gets in the car, right? Because he was taken too long. Remember? And they threw...
Yeah.
There was a grenade or something. Yeah. So he's been separated. An is separated. Mm-hmm. So at the office building, Quina and Tata are going to go look for a car. Tata says he knows where to get a car, and they find this garage of older, really nice, classic collectible cars that I guess that's the point, because they would still be able to run.
Yeah.
They're not like newer cars. And they have a conversation about how back in the real world, they were both like in debt and everything, but even still, they still want to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she has like a sick mom, remember?
Yes.
And we don't know like what's up with that, you know? Meanwhile, Arisu and Usagi go for food, right? And
at a convenience store.
Yeah. And he has a flashback to getting shortcake yakisoba with his friends. And his friends who died in the first season. And he kind of snaps out of it, and he's like, and announces like no matter what, he wants to make sure they go back. But then she remembers what life was like for her, and so they kind of, I feel like this is like just to catch you up, right? Like in case you forgot, like visually, to make sure, you know. And then it goes back to her story, which was her dad was a famous mountaineer who was accused of like faking a climb, and then he went off on his own on this climb, I thought to kind of to clear his name, but he disappears and he's presumed dead. And so there are all these like rumors about, you know, obviously what he was accused of, plus whether or not he's really dead. Did he commit suicide? Was this an admission of guilt? And she's been left behind to deal with the paparazzi and stuff. So she's like, fuck it. What am I going back for? Right. Even after he swears his life to hers, he was like, even if I have to die, I'm going to make sure you get out of here. She's like, sorry. Was he hitting on her, do you think?
No.
Okay. All right. So they all get in the car that Tata and Queen are fine, and they leave. And then the next day, Arisu sees these banners up on the roof. He goes up to the roof. Oh, I just want to say, when they were like trying to figure out like where to go, I feel like in the ambush that was terrifying, and of course the car chase. But like after this, that man would not find me.
Yeah.
Like you are in a big fucking city, unless they're cheating, right? Unless they are
track people,
right? I'm like, why are y'all? First of all, I would not be on the ground floor. If I'm in a city with access to these high rises, I'm assuming some of them are apartment buildings. When I tell you my ass would be up on like the penthouse floor, like I would hear his ass coming. You hear me? Like there's no way. So when they were like, where do we go? We need to be quiet. I'm like, how? It's one nigga with a gun. But anyway, but then they get this loud ass car, and I'm like, that's not helping. So, Arisu decides that they should enter a game to escape this King of Spades or the Gun Devil. Because he thinks like there are clear rules here, and like the two game masters won't want to like step on each other's toes or cause drama. Like if they go and participate in somebody else's game, the King of Spades can't just come shoot them while they're in the game, is his thinking. So that's what they do. He suggests the King of Clubs. Queen is like, King? That's hard. Like, why can't we start with a Jack? But his reasoning was it's the furthest away. So they'd be far away from the Gun Devil, King of Spades. But also, they want to get information. So he's thinking if they can talk to the game master, they can, like, a king probably knows more.
Yeah.
Than a Jack, let's say. So, and so they vote on whether or not they're going to do it. And because I guess technically they're on visa.
Yeah,
because they were waiting for a game to start, and I'm assuming they were only waiting for that game to start because their visa is going to expire, if that makes sense. So anyway, they vote to go in, and it's clear Usagi doesn't want to, but everybody else votes, and they vote yes. So she's like, so she never even votes. She's just like, majority rules, so I'm going. Right? Okay. And so they go, and it's like at this shipping yard with a bunch of shipping containers, and it's the King of Clubs, and he's butt-ass naked.
Oh, yeah. We thought he was shirtless at first, and then the camera pans out, and you just see his butt, and we're like, oh.
And they end up teaming up because it's another reason that Arisu picked this was because it's clubs, which is a team game. Like, so he knows that he assumes that they would be working together. And when they arrive, it's a 5-person team game, and one of the bracelets is already taken by the psycho from the first season, who I still don't know how he survived.
Yeah.
He fell off a roof. He was on fire. I feel like he got shot. I know he got his ass kicked. He was on fire. Did I mention that? That should have been enough. But he's still alive. And so the second episode is not a lot of like small stuff. It's very broad, I think. The gist of it is the King of Clubs. Do you remember his real name? Kayume?
Kuyuma?
I don't remember. But I'm going to call him the King of Clubs. And he was the leader of a band before all of this. And he and his bandmates are now in the game. Mm-hmm. And they basically are like, he doesn't lead like he's the leader, if that makes sense. They are all on equal footing, to the point where the game that they're going to play is designed by one of them. And explain the rules of the game.
Oh goodness, if I can remember it all. So it's kind of like it's a point-based game. Mm-hmm. Both teams start off with 10,000 points, and you can divide the points equally among your teammates, or not even equally. You can give some of your teammates more points, but baseline, everyone has to have at least 100 points. Mm-hmm. And how long did the game last? Like 2 hours?
2 hours, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And they have 2 hours to gain more points, and it's like whoever has the most points by the end wins. The way to gain points is by doing battles with the other team. And the battles work. They have these bracelets that show their points and stuff. The way the battles work is if you touch a player from another team, you automatically enter a battle. Whoever has the most points at the start of the battle wins. The loser has to give up 500 points. If you fall below 0 or hit 0 points, you die immediately. Mm-hmm.
If you win the battle, you get the 500 points.
Yeah, you get the 500. You exchange points, basically. And you don't know how many points the other player has until you start the battle. So it's like a gamble. Yes.
And if you can team up by touching your teammate, and your points will combine.
Yeah.
So if you are touching a teammate when you enter a battle, and you battle by touching, so like you just have to touch the other person to battle them. Mm-hmm. So if you're holding hands with a teammate and you each have 2,000 points, you're now battling with 4,000 points if you touch an opponent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another way to gain points is by finding items in the shipping containers. There's 6 of them out of the entire field of shipping containers that are there. And you find an item, you just press the button, you get points. It's like, it's not random per se. There's like a set amount you can get from each item, and I don't think any item, like any 2 items, has the same amount of points.
Right. And they knew, like, at one point when there was only 1 item left, and the players were behind, they're like, we could go find that item. But they knew
how much it was.
Yeah, they knew that it was only worth X number of points, and it wouldn't be enough for them to win.
Yeah. But. And then there's the bases. There's like I don't know what exactly they are. They're like those like
2 different ends of the shipping yard, basically.
Yeah. They're like those things, like those little glass balls that you touch, and like electricity shoots out and connects with your finger. Those are really cool. But it's like that, kind of. And you can. Oh, this is where it gets kind of complicated. If you touch the enemy's base, you automatically get 10,000 points added to your team score. If you're touching your own base, you will have an infinite amount of points.
While you're touching it.
Yeah, while you're touching your own base. You can't touch it and then not touch it and still have infinite points. So, like, if you're touching your base and you have an infinite amount of points and you touch a player from the enemy team, you'll automatically win the battle.
Which they'll mean they'll just die, right?
Or they'll lose 500 points.
Oh, they'll lose 500 points. That's right.
But if... Or did they lose 10,000 points?
Yeah, you lose 10,000 because that guy died.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that costs you your life because of the number of points you lose. It's like the odds are you're going to die because you probably don't have that many points to lose on you. So I do think you lose 10,000.
Yeah. Because they all started with 2,000.
Right.
Well, the enemy team at least.
Yeah.
But...
And then after you exchange points, either through battle or at the base, you are inactive.
Yeah.
And you have to go touch your own base to get active again.
Yeah, and if you're inactive and you touch another player, regardless if that other player is inactive or not, you both get shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Not killed.
Right. But just like kind of incapacitated for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are the rules.
I think
that's pretty much it.
All of it, yeah.
Okay. So, and the name of the game, it's so funny because, like, we knew their history, and then they were like, you're going to play our game. And you were like, what if the game is just a rock band?
Yeah, because it's pointed to, like, a giant screen. And I'm like, what if it just pulls up the rock band? And they hand out little toy plastic controllers.
Or you just got to play Dance Dance Revolution.
Because they were a band. But I do want to say, there was a point where they were like, this is the first time someone's played our game. Even we haven't played it yet. Yeah. So I was like waiting for a point in the game where there was like a flaw in the rules.
Yeah.
And that would be their downfall.
Yeah. But the name of the game is Osmosis, by the way.
Yeah.
So they're playing the game, and our group is doing pretty well. And then the way they decided, I thought this was interesting, how to divvy up their 10,000 points amongst the 5 of them was to give the slower runners, they paired up 2 people, 1 fast runner with the slow runner, and then the 5th person, Tata, just stayed to guard the base. Mm-hmm. And the points were divvied up with the slow runners getting more points, less points.
Or no, more. The slow runners got more points,
and then the faster runners got less points. Right,
because I'm assuming they would be better at avoiding battles.
Right. So they're doing well until the other team, who decided to, because again, that's why I mentioned earlier, like, they are very much, we're all in equal footing here, and no one is more valuable than anyone else in our group, the King of Clubs. And so they realize that they're losing, and they have to do something big to get an advantage. And 2 of them, the King of Clubs plus the guy, I think, who came up with the game, came up with a plan, and it turned out to be the same plan, which is they head to the player's base, which is just Tata there by himself, all of them, except
the girl,
because she stays back to guard theirs. There's 1 girl in their team, Uta, I think her name is. Uta stays behind, and the others all go and they charge the other's base. And so Tata touches, he gets infinite points, but then he has to, like, guard them off, and he can't stop them all from touching it.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them.
Right. So he ends up touching 1, who's the guy who came up with the game, and this then drains him of the 10,000 points, and he dies. But on the plus side, the other 3 members each get 10,000 points.
So another...
for their team. So they're like 30,000 up. More than 30,000 points up. And they carry their body back to their base. I'm sad.
I'm not. I don't care about these guys.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, because I'm still under the impression, like, everybody who came here didn't want to come here.
They seemed like they were fine being there.
They did. They were just,
Because remember, before the game started, Arisu is like, is it true that if we collect all the cards, we'll go back to the real world? And then the king guy, he's like, how are you so sure the other world is the real world?
Yeah.
Because he's like, everyone is truly themselves here.
Yeah. So, Arisu is inactive, but he doesn't charge himself. He doesn't make himself active. He comes up with this plan where they would also go and charge the base, right? But the other team now doesn't have to do shit, so they're just sitting around the base waiting. So it's like one-on-one, right? They have Usagi come and tempt someone to chase her, right? Mm-hmm. So she's off running from one of them, and that leaves the other three. And then Tata's still guarding the base, even though I forget the psycho guy's name. He makes him feel so bad.
He keeps saying it's your fault. It's your fault. We're losing.
I hate that the best that he could. Yeah. There's nothing he could have done differently.
So
he couldn't have touched two of them at the same time before one of them touched the thing. So,
unless he kicked out his leg. I don't know.
Yeah. But he stays behind. So it's just Arisu, Kuina, and the Psycho. And they run for the pole, the base. And Arisu's plan is that he's going to, one of them will touch him and it will knock them off. And that may be enough time for one of the other two to touch the pole and get their 10,000 points, right? And it only nets them 10,000. And they end up getting the last item, right? Usagi finds it, but they're still down 500 points.
So, like, at this point, they just need to win a battle, but...
Right. And they have, like, 10 minutes left when the episode ends. Oh, that's I think his name is Nigani, the psycho guy. He has been coughing up blood the entire episode, so he's clearly dying. And he decides he wants to go out like the bitch he is.
Being the worst.
Yeah, they treated him like a team member, and I was like, I cannot believe they're trying to redeem this wannabe rapist. But sure enough, he decides, you know what, I'm just going to be the worst, and he once again tries to rape Usagi. And that's how it ends, with 10 minutes left, and she's fighting him.
Arisu's running to the enemy base.
Yes.
I keep waiting for Tata to do something because they keep, like, focusing on him like he's in deep thoughts coming up.
Right, like he's going to come up with some plan, but, like, he doesn't.
Like, there was, like, a point where they're all sitting at their own base and they're all, like, kind of moping around, and Tata, it, like, zooms in on Tata's face, and he's just looking at the ground, and it does it for, like, a long time, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna do something with him. Is he gonna sacrifice himself?
Yes.
Like, what's gonna happen?
He has an idea. Something's gonna, no.
And then later, he's just sitting there like, what do we do?
Yeah, I thought the same. So, all right, so predictions. I mean, I really don't, like, I don't even know how they get out of this.
I don't either, but obviously they are, because, like, they have to. But, my prediction is not like how the game ends or what they do, but like obviously they're gonna wrap this game up pretty early on in this next episode, and then the next game will be the rest of episode 3, I think.
I hope so.
And maybe it'll change point of views. Maybe we'll see where Chichi is up to. I don't know. That's just me being an optimist.
But wait, I have a question. What? Oh, never mind. Oh, would you think they're going to get any information out of this king, though? Because I feel like that was another, like, objective of doing this.
I feel like maybe he'll say something really cryptic and, like, a hint right before he dies, and then they're left to be like, what did he mean by that? What does that mean? And then they won't find out till, like, 3 episodes later.
Because it's weird that he's expected, at least according to Arisu, to know more or to be able to, you know what I mean, give them valuable information to get home. But we saw at least from the flashback, it seems like they were, We never see people just arrive here the way we saw Arisu and his friends.
Mm-hmm.
But the assumption is it was the same. Like you were doing something and then next thing you know, you were
alone in the world.
Alone in the world, right. But it feels like they were showing us at the very least that they had normal lives before they got here. My assumption is that they were zapped here too. But maybe we'll learn that some people did actually volunteer. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it's just weird to me that you expect him to have answers and they seem to be in the same boat you are, except maybe
they have a different role.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say maybe they've just been here longer, because how do you get to be the game master of a face card with your homies? Yeah. And then you're just like chilling waiting for somebody to come up and challenge you and play your game? Like, how does that work? Like, yeah. But I've heard lots of good things about this season, so I'm assuming we're gonna get some answers, or whatever happens, we'll be satisfied. So all right, so that is it. Again, if you are a Time Travel subscriber, you can listen to us talk about episodes 3 and 4 right now. If you're listening to this for free, thank you still also for your support. Few ways that you can support the website and the channel, the podcast. Remember projectfandom.com. It has everything that we're covering plus our schedule, so you know what's upcoming. If you head over to patreon.com/podcastfandom, you can become a premium subscriber. And Project Fandom is also on YouTube, and we post a lot of our podcasts there with captions for those who may need that. And if you could, it would be so lovely if you could go subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we will be doing video reactions pretty soon. And so we want to build up our subscriber list over there as well. All right. We'll be back next week with episodes 3 and 4 of season 2 of Alice in Borderland. Thanks for listening.